Mr. B. Dhanasekar is working as a lecturer in Department of Information Technology, Anna University, Chennai. He finished his MCA from Urumu Dhanalakshmi College, Bharatidasan University. He finished his ME in Computer Science and Engineering from College of Engineering, Anna University. His areas of interest are multi-core programming and architecture, programming models, compiler, automata theory, cryptography, and algorithms. He is an expert in subjects like compiler design, formal languages and automata theory, analysis of algorithms. His research area is code generation for multi-core architecture.
Welcome to the UGC lecture series, and in this lecture series we are seeing the subject that is theory of computation. This is the fifth episode of the subject that is theory of computation. Let me start with what we had seen in the previous lecture, that is previous episode of this lecture. So here we have that is the string recognition by the non-deterministic finite automata. We have seen that there is an extended transition function which is capable of that is processing strings by either it is going to be a deterministic version or it is going to be a non-deterministic version. For non-deterministic version itself, we have an extended transition function. With the help of that, we have seen how the strings are processed by the non-deterministic finite automata. And when you are having the non-deterministic finite automata, it is required to convert this into its equivalent deterministic finite automata, so that we will be able to write programs or we can construct recognizers for the equivalent that is non-deterministic finite automata. So what we will be having is, we have to find out what is the equivalence among the non-deterministic finite automata and the deterministic finite automata, and for that we have an algorithm called a subset construction algorithm. The reason why we are calling it a subset construction algorithm is, we will be constructing the subsets of the given set of states available in the non-deterministic finite automata. Suppose we are having that Q, which is the set of states available in non-deterministic finite automata, is some Q0 and Q1. Then there is 2 power 2, there are 4 number of possible states available in the power set of that Q. So it means that as far as NFA is concerned, you can be in any number of states at any point of time. So it can be a state called Q0, or it can be Q1, or it can be Q0, Q1, and the one of the remaining possibility is going to be a null state. So when a transition is not defined, then we will go for the null state. Otherwise it will be any one of the state that is either Q0 or Q1 or Q0, Q1. Since the states are the subsets of the given set of states available in the non-deterministic finite automata, we will be calling this algorithm as subset construction algorithm. So by using this subset construction algorithm, we will be able to find out the equivalent DFA for any given non-deterministic finite automata, subject to the constraint that the language recognized by the given NFA should be same as the language recognized by the DFA which you are obtaining from the subset construction algorithm. In the previous lecture we have seen one example for that is how we are constructing the DFA from the given non-deterministic finite automata, and here also we are having one simple example where the NFA is given and from that we are finding the equivalent deterministic finite automata by using the subset construction algorithm, and where the NFA and DFA are both represented in terms of the transition table. So here is the non-deterministic finite automata. There are 4 states P, Q, R and S, and P is the starting state of the finite automata, that is non-deterministic finite automata, and S is the final state of the non-deterministic finite automata. And here it is a non-deterministic finite automata because of P comma 0 we are having 2 states, both P and Q are coming as output. Since there are multiple states we are getting as output for the current state with the input symbol that is 0, we will be calling this as non-deterministic finite automata. Other than that, almost all of them are having single states except the case that R comma 1. So del of R comma 1 is undefined. It means that the output is going to be a null set. So now we are having totally there are 4 number of states available in the given non-deterministic finite automata, and we have to find out the equivalent deterministic finite automata. The equivalent deterministic finite automata is going to have at most 2 power 4 number of states. Already we have seen that whether we are going to use all the 4 number of states or not is fully depending upon what is the given non-deterministic finite automata. In the worst case we will be having that is almost all the 2 power n number of states, but in the best case we will be having exactly n number of states. So somehow that is we will be getting some number of states in between n and 2 power n. So we need not generate the entire set of 2 power n possible states, or we need not generate the transition for all the entire that is 2 power n number of states. Instead of that, We start from the starting state of the finite, that is given non-deterministic finite automata, and whatever the states we are generating as the transition for all the input symbols, then if it is a new state, then you evaluate a transition, otherwise simply leave that. So if you are proceeding like this, we will never go for generating the states called dead states or the unreachable states. That means the states which are not at all serving any useful purpose in terms of the recognition of the language will never be included or will never be generated, and we need not generate even the transitions of those states also. Here we can see that the starting state of the non-deterministic finite automata is P. So we are here even starting with the that is P, that is as the starting state of the deterministic finite automata. So by definition of the conversion, that is NFA to DFA conversion, the starting state of the NFA is same as the starting state of the DFA also. So from that, when you are evaluating the transitions for 0, we are getting a subset of states. It is actually a set of states as far as the DFA is concerned, the NFA is concerned, but whereas it is going to be a state as far as the DFA is concerned. So just for differentiation, we are just putting it inside the square bracket, saying that this is going to be a single state, not a set of states. So it will be a member in the power set of the given set of states. As far as DFA is concerned, this will be treated as a single state. So for P with 0, we are getting P comma Q because of P comma Q is going to be the set of states available in the non-deterministic finite automata. So then for 1, it is going to be P. So we will be having P. So now the question is, will you go for generating the set of all transitions from Q, or we will start with the newly generated states? Already I told you that we will be starting always with the states which are newly generated as far as the transition evaluation is concerned. So we have to start with the next state, either PQ or it is going to be P. As far as P is concerned, whose transition is already evaluated, so there is no need of once again repeating that transition, but we need to find out the transitions for P comma Q. So as far as PQ is concerned, with the input symbol 0, the formula is evaluate the transitions from P for 0 and evaluate the transitions from Q for 0, then take the union of both. So when it is P comma 0, we are getting P comma Q in the NFA, and when it is Q comma 0, we are having that is R. So the resulting set of states is going to be PQR. Once again, it is going to be a state as far as the DFA is concerned, but whereas in the case of NFA, it is going to be a set of states. And when you look at this one, it is from P for 1, it is going to be P only, and from Q, when it is for 1, we are getting R. So P comma R will be the new state. So now we are having 2 more new states. So we have to continue with either PQR or with PR. So if you continue like this, actually we can see that there are 2, 4, 6, around 8 number of states we are generating. Instead of generating the entire 2 power 6, that is 2 power 4, that is going to be 16 number of states. And now we have to find out what is going to be the starting state of the automata. The starting state of the automata is the one which is exactly the starting state of the given NFA, and the final states from the set of states which we have obtained for the deterministic finite automata, we find out in which are all the sets we have the final state of the given NFA as the member. The final state of the that is your given NFA is S, and S is a member in PQRS, PRS, PQS and in PS also. So all the 4 states becoming the final states of the given generated deterministic finite automata. So this is how we are generating the deterministic finite automata from the given non-deterministic finite automata. We just go for converting it into a table because it is much easier rather than going for a transition diagram or for a formal representation. Evaluate the starting state, and that is evaluate transitions from the starting state. As and when we are generating the new states from the starting state for the various input symbols, and we have to evaluate transition for all those new states. After some number of steps, that is after generating all the states available in the deterministic finite automata equivalent, we will not be left with any new states. So in that case, we have to wind up and we have to simply identify the starting state and the final states of the produced deterministic finite automata. The worst case, it is going to have all the 2 power n number of states, but whereas in the case of if the given NFA itself is not having any kind of non-determinism, then exactly the same automata will be produced as a deterministic finite automata, because we can call every deterministic finite automata as a non-deterministic finite automata also, but whereas the reverse not necessarily be satisfied always. So this is how the process of subset construction algorithm applied to convert the given non-deterministic finite automata into its equivalent deterministic finite automata. The next item is we have a variant of the non-deterministic finite automata. Actually whatever the NFA we have seen so far is having the transitions only for the symbols from the input alphabet, but whereas the non-determinism can be even introduced with the help of transitions where actually they are caused because of the empty symbol transitions. Empty symbol, I mean without consuming any input symbol from the input source, whether it is possible to change the state or not. A DFA cannot change the state without consuming any input symbol. NFA by default cannot change the state without consuming any input symbol, but whereas an NFA with the epsilon transitions, it's a variant of the NFA, it's once again a non-deterministic finite automata. Actually they are causing or they are making changes on the states even with the help of empty strings or empty symbols. So any string can have, that is, any number of epsilons either concatenated at the beginning or at the end or in the middle. So as far as the recognition of the strings are concerned, it is not making any implication or any change, but whereas it is possible to change the states from one state to the other state without consuming any input symbol. It means that we do not find out any progress as far as the string recognition is concerned, but still we will be finding some change on the states which are available in the non-deterministic finite automata. So now how do you define the non-deterministic finite automata with the help of epsilon transitions? So actually they are allowing transitions without receiving any input symbol. So that is not allowed as far as DFA is concerned or even simply an NFA is concerned. If it is NFA with the epsilon transition, we can make changes on the states or we can make transitions without receiving any input symbol. And as far as epsilon is concerned, it is not contributing anything as far as your string along the path is concerned. So the strings are not all going to be changing because you can generate any number of epsilons in anywhere in the string. So if you want to generate an epsilon or if you want to make an epsilon transition, just you have to assume that there is an epsilon available somewhere in the string. And now the question is, will there be any change as far as the language recognition power of this NFA is concerned or not? As far as the DFA is concerned or even the NFA is concerned, there is no difference as far as the language recognition power is concerned, and that is true even in the case of NFA with the epsilon transition is also concerned. Even if you go for an NFA with the epsilon transition, the language recognition power is not at all changing. But still, what is the advantage we are having is it's much easier to construct NFA with the epsilon transition rather than going for NFA or directly going for deterministic finite automata. After the break, we shall see that is the definition for NFA with the epsilon transitions. So we have seen that is what is an NFA with the epsilon transition. Now we have to study the definition of the NFA with the epsilon transition. Even in the case of NFA with the epsilon transition, it can be defined with the help of a quintuple where we are having 5 different components. The set of all states, here we can see that set of all states we are having, that is Q, then the input alphabet, that is sigma, then the transition function, starting state, set of final states. Q is finite set of states, it means it should be non-empty also, and the epsilon is also, sigma is also going to be the finite set of input symbols, and the difference is available as far as the transition function is concerned. The transition function del is defined for a DFA with the Q cross sigma is giving you Q, that is for deterministic finite automata, and for the non-deterministic finite automata it is Q cross sigma is giving you 2 power Q, that is any subset from the power set of Q. But here is the transition function defined for the non-deterministic finite automata with the epsilon transition. So actually even when whatever the alphabet we are considering, there won't be any epsilon as far as the alphabet is concerned or the set is concerned. But here we need to make transitions on epsilon also. So the second argument for the transition function, it can be either a symbol from sigma or this epsilon. So we can make transition for epsilon or we can make any transition for the symbols available in sigma. But what do you get as output? It is going to be only the subset of the power set of Q only. Since this is also a non-deterministic finite automata, there is no change as far as the output is going to be concerned. Either we will get a single state or that is all the states available in the Q. So the definition is now it can accept a state, a symbol as the second argument or epsilon as second argument, producing a set of states as output. As usual, Q naught is the starting state where the system is initially placed, and F is going to be the finite non-empty set of states which are called either accepting states or the final states. So now we shall see that is the it is epsilon closure of this function. As far as NFA with the epsilon transition is concerned, So, it is possible to change the state without consuming any symbol from the input. Suppose if I am having an automata where q0 and q1 are the two states available, and there is a transition from q0 to q1 which is labeled with epsilon. Now the point is, can we be in q0 or can we be in q1 even without consuming the symbols or not? It is possible. Whatever the string given for us, we can assume that there is a prefix called epsilon is there, and epsilon when it is concatenated with any string either as the prefix or as the suffix, it won't make any change as far as the string is concerned. So we are assuming that there is an epsilon available in the beginning of the string. So it is possible to make a change on the state from q0 to q1 without there is any progress as far as string recognition is concerned, but still it is possible to change the state. So it is allowed to be either in q0 or in q1 without consuming anything. So in one aspect we can say that this q0 and q1 are equivalent in terms of the string recognition whatever is given for us. So if you find that a set of states or a sequence of states which are connected exactly by one or more number of epsilons, or if the path along this set of states is covered with the epsilon transition, then we can say that those states are equivalent and it does not produce any change as far as the language recognition is concerned. So what we should do is we have to evaluate those kind of states. Actually those states are called equivalent states. So how do we evaluate those states? So for that only we are having a function called epsilon closure. So this is going to be a set in which we are having that is every state that can be reached from the source state along any path whose arcs are labeled epsilon. That is actually the set of states. It can be any one subset from the power set of given set that is q, but the question is whether we are reaching those set of states with the help of the epsilon transition or not. So if you are having q0, q1, q2, q3 all these are connected just by having epsilon, then the epsilon closure of q0 is going to have all the states including q0, then q1, q2 and q3. At the same time if I am evaluating the transition epsilon transition or epsilon closure for q3, we will be having only the transition that is state called q3. So any state can be reached from that state with the help of epsilon transition. Whether we have an explicit transition with the epsilon labeled there or not is not the question, but definitely every state can be reached from the same state just by having the epsilon transition. So when you are going for the evaluation of the epsilon closure for any state available in the given non-deterministic finite automata, we have to include whatever the given state as the output state. That is the evaluation of the epsilon closure of the given state is concerned. We have a very simple algorithm which will evaluate the epsilon closure of any state. The definition is going to be a recursive one and which is having a basis. So the basis is actually the epsilon closure of q is q first of all, because every state can be reached from that state with the help of epsilon transition. Whether it is directly available or not, certainly it is possible to reach a state from that state with the help of epsilon transition. So whatever be the input available, it may be a single state or it may even be a set of states, whatever it is, we just add it in the resulting or the output of this E close of q. Now we have some set of states already in E close of q. We assume that we have a stack within which we have pushed all the states available in E close of q. Then you go for a pop operation so that it will give you the top stack or the very first state available in the stack. From that what should be done is you find out the states that can be reached from the current state with the epsilon transition. So if p is already in E close of q, that means we are saying that p is already in the stack. In that case what we should do is, if there is a transition to r, there is a new state we are finding. If we are having a transition to r, and what is the label connecting p and r, that is very important. The label connecting p and r is epsilon. So if p to r there is a transition which is labeled epsilon, then what we should do is r should also be in the E close of q. So we have to actually we are supposed to find out the states which can be reached from the current state with the help of epsilon transition. So it cannot be directly obtained because we may have large number of nesting of there are states which are all connected with the epsilon transition. So certainly we should go for some kind of data structure like that is stack, where I will be pushing, just popping and find out what is the set of all states which can be reached, and then we will add up the new states. If there are any new states available in the epsilon closure of the current state and those states will be added, we are adding those states or we are pushing those states into the stack only because of we need to further evaluate the transitions, that is epsilon transitions from all those states. So if I am having 5 states connected in this continuous manner, in a nested manner, we need to include all the 5 states. here we have a simple example which will be telling that how this epsilon closure can be evaluated here. So here this is automata, we are having the starting state that is q naught, and then there are other than that we are having 6 number of states. We can see the various transitions available here. Q naught to Q1 is connected with epsilon, then Q1 to Q3 is connected to epsilon, then Q3 to Q5 is also connected to epsilon, Q naught Q2 is also connected to epsilon. Other than that we are having here it is A, here B, and Q4 to Q6 is also connected with epsilon. If you are having any automata with the epsilon transition, definitely it must be a non-deterministic finite automata. It cannot be deterministic even if the transitions are uniquely defined. Suppose if you do not have a transition, the epsilon transition from Q0 to Q2, can you call this as a deterministic transition or not? Certainly it is not going to be deterministic, because being in Q0 or in Q1 does not make any difference as far as the language recognition is concerned, because we can be in Q0 as well as in Q1 without consuming any input symbol because of the label available in the transition is epsilon. So definitely if there are epsilon transitions, then the automata will be non-deterministic finite automata. So now see, that is how we are evaluating the E-close of that is Q0. The E-close of Q0 is, first of all we have to add this Q0 into the resulting set by the definition of the E-close evaluation, that is the basis. So we will be having that is Q0. So now assume that it is a stack where we are having Q0 on top of the stack. We just pop it out. Once you have popped it, then we have to find out all the states which could be reached from Q0 with the epsilon transition. We find that is Q1 and Q2 are the two states which could be reached from Q0 with the help of epsilon transition. So those states will be added. Now we are having Q1 and Q2. We assume that Q2 is on top of the stack. So we should evaluate all the states which could be reached from Q2 with the epsilon transition. We do not find out any more state which could be reached from Q2 with the help of epsilon transition. So that process is over. The next is we are having Q1. From there the transitions are not yet evaluated. We find that Q3 can be reached from Q1 with the help of epsilon transition. So Q1 is going to be there, so Q3 is going to be there as far as the resulting set is concerned, and from Q3 once again we are having another state that is Q5 which could be reached just with the help of epsilon transition. So the states which are having that is epsilon transitions from Q0 are Q0, Q2, Q1, Q3 and Q5. At the same time, if you do it the same procedure for the E-close of that is Q2, we find that no other state can be reached from Q2 with the help of epsilon transition. But can this set be empty? No, the set cannot be empty, because the state Q2 by itself can be reached with the help of epsilon transition even though there is no explicit epsilon transition from Q2 to Q2. We will never add the epsilon transition from the given state to the same state which is labeled with the epsilon. If it is going to some other state, then we will be able to declare, or we will be adding that kind of transitions. Otherwise we will not add these kind of transitions into the that is your non-deterministic finite automata. So to find out the states which are equivalent, we will go for that is evaluating the epsilon closure, and it should be done for every state available in the given non-deterministic finite automata. So now with the help of this epsilon closure procedure, we can think about how the NFAs with the epsilon transitions are used for processing strings. It means that actually we are making use of the extended transition function for the evaluation of, for the processing of strings by DFA as well as by non-deterministic finite automata. Now we have a variant of NFA, that is epsilon NFA, and as far as epsilon NFA is concerned, we cannot make use of the extended transition function used by NFA for processing strings here, because as far as NFA is concerned, that is NFA without epsilon transition is concerned, you can't make the state change without consuming any input symbol. But whereas in the case of NFA with the epsilon transition, it is possible to change the state even without consuming any symbol from the input. So what does it mean is, when you are evaluating the transition like del cap of some q comma epsilon, if it is DFA or even NFA, the answer is going to be q. But in the case of that is NFA with the epsilon transition, the answer is not only q, it is fully depending upon how many states that could be reached from this q with the help of epsilon transition, maybe indirectly or in a nested fashion. So how this set of states will be evaluated? So for the evaluation of the states which could be reached from the current state with the epsilon transition, we will make use of the epsilon closure procedure. Actually without the help of only this epsilon closure procedure, we will be able to define the extended transition function for the non-deterministic finite automata. So non-deterministic finite automata with the help of epsilon transition. So by default we will be having some induction procedure Here you can see this external transition function definition. So del cap of q comma epsilon is actually q as far as NFA as well as DFA are concerned, but whereas in the case of NFA with the epsilon transition, it is not just q, but we have to find out all the states which could be reached from q with the epsilon transition. To find out that, we will be making use of the epsilon closure function. So this will return the states which could be reached from q with the epsilon transition. So now this, how this function, that is your del cap or the external transition function, is defined recursively. Assume that we need to evaluate the transition for w, which is going to be a string which is to be processed by this particular NFA with epsilon transition, and w could be seen as xa, where x belongs to sigma star and a belongs to sigma. It means that x could be any string, even epsilon, but whereas a should be a symbol, that is a single symbol. So now for the evaluation of the transition, that is del cap of q comma w, what we should do is, first you go for evaluating del cap of q comma x. So it is going to be a recursive process, and since it is going to be a non-deterministic finite automata, the evaluation of del cap of q comma x is going to be a set of states. So what those set of states, actually here they are listed. We are assuming that p1, p2 up to pk, actually there are k number of states available in this set which could be obtained for del cap of q comma x. So now we can say that we have evaluated the transitions for the entire sequence of symbols available in x, but that is not the end. We have to find out what are the set of states which we could reach after accepting that a also, because a is the last symbol available in the given string w which is supposed to be processed. If you are going for simply NFA, for the evaluation of the additional transition for this a, what we will do is just find out the transitions from the set of states, that is p1 to pm, by using the direct transition function which is available in the finite automata, that means del. So del of p1 comma a union del of p2 comma a up to del of pm comma a, that is what the procedure being followed in the NFA for the evaluation of the transitions from x to, that is the remaining set of states, that is for the remaining symbol, that is a. But the same procedure here we cannot follow, because if I am in p1, sometimes it may be equivalent with some q1 q2 up to some qn. It means that is if you are having a transition, that is if you want to evaluate transition for a from the state that is p1, we need to find out whether there is a transition available for a from p1 as well as all the equivalent states of p1. So all the equivalent states of p1, how do we evaluate that? It is going to be with the help of the epsilon closure function. So what we should do as the next step of the conversion is going to be from p1, p2 etc. up to, that is pk, we have to find out what is going to be the transition available for a. We find that it is r1, r2 up to rm. We should not stop with that, and we have to go for evaluating the e-closure of r1 to rm. It means we are having, that is r1, r2 up to, that is rm, and from every state we have to find out the e-close procedure. When you go for the e-closure from the every state, we will be able to find out all the equivalent states. So it is going to be a three-step process. First we evaluate the transition from the transition for x, then you evaluate the transition for a, then you have to evaluate the transition, that is your e-close of all the states available in the given, that is set of states available as the output. So finally we will go for that is the string, that is whatever we are getting, if it is going to be in the final set, then we will stop, otherwise we will not declare the string is going to be an accepted string. So to summarize, we have seen that is the NFA to DFA conversion with the help of an example also, and we have used the subset construction algorithm, and the next one is NFA with the epsilon transitions we have seen, and in the case of that is NFA with the epsilon transition, we have seen that is the epsilon closure procedure also, that is how do you find out the states which are equivalent for the given NF, that is NFA states. And the questions we are having as far as this component is concerned is converting the given non-deterministic finite automata into its equivalent deterministic finite automata. We may be given any kind of problem with, that is NFA is given and we need to find out the DFA. And the another question is we have to find out what is the meaning of epsilon transition. So what we have understood with the help of epsilon transition and what is the role of that. And if you are having NFA with the epsilon transition, then definitely there will be there is a need for evaluating the epsilon closure procedure. The epsilon closure will find out what are the states which are equivalent for the current state, which could be reached with the help of epsilon transitions. So these are all the questions which you have seen from this episode. With this I conclude this lecture. Thank you all.